So, you get some bad news, as we all seem to be doing this year. How do you feel? Do you feel utterly despairing at the state of the world? Like our whole country is falling apart and nothing individual people seem to be trying to do really turning the tide yet? That's sometimes how I feel. I am trying to find more productive uses of my emotions. And one of the things that surprisingly has been really helpful for me was Wikipedia. I found that Wikipedia is a pretty good platform for helping support basically any social cause that you care about. If you have an issue and you want to find a way that, just little old you can make an impact, editing Wikipedia is one way where your writing and your sleuthing can actually make a big difference. And the reason I say this is because I think that knowledge is incredibly powerful. I think that both having the education for us to understand social issues and empathize with each other, and also the education to know what strategies might be effective for making change, I think all of that is really important to grappling with social issues, ones that are caused by often how we treat each other rather than, anything that's inherent to the state of the world. And so I think that because knowledge can create change, and because Wikipedia is one of our biggest platforms for knowledge today, like it's one of the top search results, it powers so many search summaries, it's being used to train so many of the AI systems that now so many people rely on, that really it affects a lot of our common understanding of issues. We don't all completely trust it. It's a crowdsourced site, but it's one way that we all learn from each other. And so you too can learn to teach people through editing Wikipedia. Wikipedia is a big site, but it's not perfect, and it's growing and changing all the time, and you can help be a part of that. And you can focus on whatever issue that you care about most, that you feel maybe a little too powerless to influence right now. So, don't just think about editing Wikipedia as a way to make the project better. Think about it as a way to share knowledge about an issue that you care about. And there are a lot of ways that you can do this. So once you know what you want to write about, glance around on Wikipedia and see how well it's actually covered right now. Some of the most obvious issues that I have run into are, one, an article is just completely missing information. Maybe it's a tiny article, maybe it looks like there's a big gap, or maybe it looks, fine, but then when you dig into it more later, you realize that huge areas of research are missing. And this can be a problem. This can leave out whole communities of thought. And this is a major place to contribute, especially if you care about solving social issues. Another place that's relevant is when articles are hard to read or understand. So the info's all there, but it jumps around and people are probably going to get bored or confused before they finish the article. And finally, if an article looks pretty biased, or you can kind of sense a tone in the article, then maybe it's not showing all points of view. Maybe it's not showing the point of view that you care about. This is a huge point of contention on Wikipedia right now, and especially in American politics, this comes up a lot, and plenty of governments around the world would love to censor parts of Wikipedia when it covers topics that are contrary to their interests as well. So I won't go into all the rules around showing different points of view right now, but if you're interested in adding to articles that seem to be biased, there is a lot of opportunity for adding more points of view, as long as it balances the main points of view out there and gives appropriate weight to different points of view. And so if you know that an article is citing really old sources and nothing more updated and points of view have changed since then, this might be a great area for you to add to an article. And it's also highly relevant for covering any social issue out there. So I wouldn't be shocked if you had some negative feelings on hearing about how Wikipedia consistently fails certain subject areas. And if you're looking at this yourself on a project that you care a lot about, you might also be feeling some strong emotions about the project and whether you'd want to even try to volunteer here. And I think it's okay to feel those feelings while sticking with it, or to decide that it's annoying to you or frustrating to you or upsetting to you and you'd rather spend your time elsewhere. What I try to remind myself, though, is that making everyday changes that affect any number of people around the world is a really nice way to make a small but noticeable impact on an issue that I care about, and that I can still help in a subject area without fixing everything about that area on Wikipedia. And so I don't need to be an expert, and I don't need to be an excellent writer, and I don't need to be right in every action I do for all of my actions to add up over time to be useful. At the same time, again, totally okay to decide that this is not working well for you. And unfortunately, a lot of people do leave editing due to frustrating interactions with other editors, because often editors are overrepresented in some areas and don't care about some topics, and they can be rude to incoming editors and push them out. And that sucks, but if that's not something you want to put up with, you don't have to. So now that you've heard my list of disclaimers, I wanted to get into a couple of ways you can start editing and dip a toe into the water. I would suggest starting with really small edits, likely not even on things that you really care about, but things that do help the encyclopedia get better and help you learn. Probably the easiest way to get started is to just fix typos. If you see a page and there's 1 or 2 letters that are wrong, you go into the page, edit it, and make it better. And that's a really nice, low barrier to entry way to finish a full edit and see what happens to the page after you click submit. There are other ways that you can make small changes depending on what you're comfortable with and what you like to improve. All of these are really helpful for people that are trying to learn from Wikipedia in different ways. And so depending on what's interesting to you, these can all be really useful, and they all give you different skills to learn. All of them are really useful if you want to make a page from scratch later on. Honestly, I'm a little baffled by how complicated Wikipedia can seem sometimes, even though the main process of editing is literally just pressing edit and changing a page. Wikipedia has a couple good resources for starting out. One of them I think is the simplest, is the introduction to Wikipedia, and it I think gives you a sandbox where you can mess around without affecting the rest of the encyclopedia, which is really nice for not feeling so much pressure to do things right. And also you can just jump in on any non-popular page. So any page that's not like really in the news right now is probably open to editing by anybody. And so you don't need an account. You can just click edit and you can change something on that page and see if it sticks around or what people have to say about it. And if you want to see what people have to say about your edits or other people's edits or a page on a topic that interests you, there are 2 places where most of that happens. One of it is clicking View History on a page, and this shows you the whole timeline of everything that people have added and removed and changed about the page. And so you can see recently, like, has there been a lot of editing this day and why? Is there a big controversial event or change? You can see if people have gone back and forth about changing what's included in the page or the organization of the page. And you can see who's involved. And similarly, at the talk page for an article, people get into more lengthy discussions about what a page should include. And so if you're really thinking of changing a page deeply, then the talk page might be useful because you can see what people have already decided about that page. Likewise, there are a lot of other people on Wikipedia that might actually be really fun to collaborate with. And there are definitely other editors that care about the same issues that you care about. And so if you want some help getting used to Wikipedia, or if you want some feedback on an article that you're working on, or help getting involved in an area that you care about, you can certainly find other people to help you out there. One place to look for them is, again, on recent page histories and people who are talking in discussions on the talk page. Both of those people probably care a lot about the content of a page. Another place to look is something called a wiki project, and these are groups of people that focus on certain subject areas. So some of the big ones are country-based wiki projects. There are ones for diaspora groups. There are ones for plenty of different social subjects. And basically anyone involved in those projects has spent a lot of time working on pages for those projects. And anyone who's active at the moment is probably happy to give you a hand. And so you can go to those wiki projects and see what they're working on, get involved, or ask for help with your own projects. So overall, I really hope that you give it a try or find another way to volunteer that works for you, that is at the effort level that you need for whatever cause that you care about. So I'd love to hear more. This is my first video ever, so if you have feedback that doesn't require too much from me, I would love to hear it. And I would love to help out with any questions or projects that you are thinking of. So thank you for listening, especially all the way to the end, and all the best.